Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the show. I got along with me my usual crew, Darnell and Tyler. I'm Trey, and we are coming your way with the 19th edition of the Don't Kill the Messengers podcast. Right now, we have a very simple show. We're about to get into UFC 198 that's coming up this Saturday. So, Darnell, just what are your thoughts on the card? Real quick.
I think it's I'm not sure if the fights will live up to the namesakes on it, but as far as on paper, it's a very good card. Did take a little bit of a hit recently with Anderson Silva having to drop out due to a emergency bladder surgery. So that takes a little bit of the star power out, but I think it has enough where on paper it still should get a lot of eyeballs on it and some interesting fights that will have some say on the future of UFC fights. Top of the card, you have Fabricio Verdum defending his title against Stipe Miocic. That should be a interesting jiu-jitsu versus striker type match, though Verdum has gotten a lot better on his feet since he's come into the UFC. He's actually very proficient. I also like the fight between Vitor Belfort and Ronaldo Jacare Souza. That should be very interesting to see if Vitor is still good enough to fight against the elite, or if Jacare is ready to make that step up to get into that title picture.
All right. Another one, we have my girl, it's like my favorite fighter in all of MMA right now, Cyborg. She's going to be making her UFC debut against Leslie Smith. You think she's going to make weight?
I mean, they made it 140, so I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if she missed it, but I mean, it's 5 pounds under what she's been fighting at, though she has missed weight at 145 as well. So that's the question of the night. They're not going to cancel the fight. I would doubt. She may have to give up some of her purse if she comes in over.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think they're going to take her off the card. And I think Leslie Smith wants this fight to happen too, just so she can kind of get some name recognition out there, even though she's way out of her league in this fight.
Yeah. How long you see the fight going between the two? Because I think you have Cyborg like me. You think this first round, or you give it a decision? Okay,
absolutely first round.
Yeah, I see the same thing. Cyborg's a beast, so yeah, I definitely see that fight ending really quick. So
yeah, Leslie Smith she needs to get a bonus if she makes it out of the first.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, up next, like you said, we have Souza versus Belfort. How do you see this fight going, and who do you have winning?
I'm actually gonna go with Jacare.
Oh, okay.
I just feel like some of the not taking TRT has to catch up with Vitor.
Yeah.
He's getting up there. He's not old by any means. He's still in his 30s. He's just been fighting for a long time, but he's been on TRT for a long time now, and I think that has to catch up. And I think Jacare is a guy that's not going to be scared of the mythos of Vitor, and if he can weather that usual first 3-minute storm that he comes with, I think he can take him out.
Yeah. Just real quick, Vitor, he's right on close to 40, man. He's 39, so...
yeah, yes, he is getting up there.
Yeah, that age and everything, especially getting off that TRT, that could definitely have an effect on the fight. I like him. He's one of my favorite guys to watch. I haven't really seen Souza fight that much, so I don't really know what to expect coming from him. But I do know with Vitor, well, like you said about, the 3 minute burst that he usually comes out within the first round. If he can withstand that and not take much damage from that, that definitely will help with his chances. But I'm going to go with my boy, Vitor. You know, I've seen him fight. I like him. I just hope he can pull it off, you know, and just win. So that's what I see going on with him. You know, just going up in there, just being aggressive, and, you know, hopefully that won't wear him out and get him tired in the fight. So, any other thoughts on that fight, Darnell?
No.
Okay. What about Verdum and Miocic?
I'm going with the champ. Fabricio's just been, I mean, since he got to get himself a title shot, he's been just ever improving. Basically, he's been improving ever since he got his upset her around the world on Fyodor Emelianenko.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, from there, he's just kind of been skyrocketing, and he got back into the UFC, got on a roll, and, you know, he made what seemed to be a very dominant Cain Velasquez look pedestrian in their fight. And, I mean, people are saying it could be due to some injury issues for Cain, but I just don't see Stipe being on that level yet.
Okay.
He can definitely prove me wrong, but outside of Fabricio getting clipped with something that is unexpected, I don't see him losing.
Okay. You know, just for like casual fans, what type of fighter is Miocic?
He's a stand-up guy, but can wrestle.
Okay.
So he can go to the ground, but he's by no means going to be able to. He's probably not going to get a submission on Verdum, who's a world-renowned jiu-jitsu black belt. Like, probably one of, at his weight, probably one of the top 5 in the world at jiu-jitsu. So he can wrestle, but I'm not sure if he was going to want to do that, because it's dangerous having a guy like Verdum on his back, being able to look for a joint to take a hold of and make you hurt for it. So I expect him to try to keep the fight standing.
Okay. That definitely sounds good. I just have a quick question for you. Did you check out the fight last week between Overeem and Arlovsky?
Yeah, it went pretty much like I expected.
Okay. Did you think my man Overeem will get the if Fabricio Verdum wins, you think he'll get the title shot, or you think he still needs to prove?
No, I think he's probably next in line for a shot.
Okay.
At worst, they would probably have him and Cain go
Velasquez,
at it. Yeah, but I definitely think he's earned it. Since he switched camps and went over to Jackson, Alistair Overeem's been looking a lot better, and I think losing all of that muscle mass has helped him out too. He seems to be a lot smarter in the ring and a lot more limber. He's not just relying on ridiculous power being able to catch somebody. He's back to being a really good kickboxer.
Yeah, for sure. So, outside of 198, this guy's still just making news in the UFC. Mcgregor, we had news come out this week that there's a possibility that him and Mayweather could be getting in the ring fighting. So, what were your thoughts on that when you heard that, Darnell? And Ty, I guess you can hop in too now, man, if you...
Yeah, I can hop in on this one.
All right.
I think it's a fun fantasy fight to talk about, but as far as realistic chances of it happening, I think you have about as good a chance of being struck by lightning tonight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it though. Say it were to happen, do you think Floyd Mayweather would actually let them fight under UFC rules?
That's what I was about to say.
He couldn't do that.
Floyd Mayweather is a smart guy. If this happens, it's going to be a boxing match.
Yeah, I feel like if it were UFC rules, Mayweather would get his head just knocked in. And if it were boxing rules, McGregor might stand somewhat of a fighter's chance to at least stay up for a while, but Mayweather would kill him if it were boxing rules. It's just one of those things where it's two different sports and you can't really combine the two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's enough of a difference for the other person to just be totally out of their element.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think, from that perspective, that's exactly right. Floyd is very particular and very cautious about who he boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've said since we went back and talked about Pacquiao, he picks his fights when he knows he can win them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way he would be getting in an octagon with Conor McGregor because that's just...
I don't think he'd get in an octagon with anybody.
Yeah. Who was the guy, Darnell, that fought
James Toney?
Yeah, James. Yeah, I don't see him pulling a James Toney in the UFC going up against the guy. That's...
No.
Yeah, Mayweather's too smart for that.
He's not gonna set himself up to lose, and he doesn't need a payday.
Yeah.
So like Floyd is rich enough. I mean, if they were to somehow work it out where it could be boxing, yeah, Floyd would take that because it's easy money. He would work Conor in a boxing ring. I have no doubts about that. As good as Conor thinks he is standing up against other UFC fighters, he's not boxing good.
Yeah.
So,
and just I read an article today, the rumor has it that somebody close to McGregor reached out to Freddie Roach. If you don't know who that is, Ty, he's like a huge boxing trainer. Like he trained Pacquiao and some other guys in the boxing world. So, and Freddie Roach told him, he said, I'll train him, but for him to get ready to fight Mayweather, I will have to train him for 3 years. So, that just shows that, that's coming from an expert boxing trainer that, hey, you're good in the whole MMA world, man, but, compared to just strictly just stand-up boxing, you would have to really get used to the training to fight a guy like Mayweather. So, and that's a guy like he trained Pacquiao, hate to get into that sorry fight, with the whole like injury and everything like that. Pacquiao's been fighting his whole entire life pretty much and, still lost to Mayweather. So, for a guy that's strictly just not been a boxer, just focused on MMA, it would take some years for him to get ready for a guy like Mayweather in the boxing world. So it's, it's fun talk. It would have to be crazy money figures to make them both want to do that. So,
well, and the bottom line of it is Conor McGregor can't do it.
Yeah,
he's under a UFC contract, and unless they were to somehow be able to sign Floyd for a one fight type deal, which is not going to happen because Floyd controls Floyd.
Yeah.
They're not going to allow Conor to go outside of the UFC and make money that they're not going to be getting any of until he finishes out a contract. So however many fights Conor has on his deal, after he finishes that out, if he can find a boxer that will want to go into a ring with him before he re-signs, but otherwise it ain't happening.
Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts on this, guys?
No, sir.
All right. Up next, we're about to get into the NBA. Just wanted you guys' quick thoughts on last week, with the whole Charles Oakley versus Charles Barkley beef. Charles Oakley tweeting that, Barkley is a soft guy, hiding behind the camera and stuff now. Just how did you guys feel about that when I first made news?
Yeah, I actually heard an interview with Oakley and how he talked about, Barkley was, kind of, he put on the tough image, but he was kind of soft on the court and didn't really want to practice and, just was the, basically the pretty boy out on the floor scoring his points, taking the shots. But, hearing that, I think it's, Oakley being stuck in the 90s and still wanting, to be the tough guy and keep the toughness in basketball. But, in the end, I think it's just garbage media. Oakley trying to, still be the tough guy that he once was in the NBA and calling somebody out. I mean, we see the same stuff today. People calling others soft and all that media circus, if you will. But to me, it means absolutely nothing. We're not going to see those guys, lace it up again and go out and play a quick little one-on-one to see who's really tougher. Yeah. So it's just a guy sharing his opinion and not liking Barkley on the basketball show, and he just wanted his voice to be heard on it, and kind of kept it going for a while though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. What about you, Darnell?
I mean, basically, I saw it as this is Oakley being Oakley. I mean, I remember him from back in my childhood days. He's the equivalent of a hockey team's goon. He was a decent player, but I mean, he was mainly there to be an enforcer. And if somebody was going to get in a fight with another player, it was going to be Oak. Yeah. So he got to get himself back in the media a little bit by calling out Barkley. I mean, Oakley is a legit tough dude. I mean, I wouldn't want to meet him in an alley, but I mean, to call Barkley soft, I mean, Barkley
guy stood up to him in a fight once when they were playing basketball too. So it's kind of like, the guy stood up to you, man. So.
And Barkley tried to shoot the fair one with Shaq before. I mean, yes, you can't go after too much bigger than that and be called soft. So I just think it's just two old timers. Well, one trying to start some beef with somebody that's at another place and is still really at a really successful place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Barkley was probably telling the truth. He doesn't care about what Oakley said, and he's not thinking about him.
Yeah. I can, this whole thing started from, Barkley, when we were talking last week and we were just seeing how, Cleveland was just straight up abusing Atlanta. Barkley, he made a comment saying that, hey, these guys shouldn't let them just continue just run the score up on them like that. So, beat up one of their players, foul them hard or something to let them know that, hey, we're not just going to let you just run up the score on us like that. And I guess Oakley took offense to that, call him soft and everything. But you got to understand, both of these guys came like straight out of the 80s, Barkley, he was drafted the same year with Michael Jordan, the whole Jordan rules thing, created by the bad boys up here. If Jordan came closer, we're going to knock his ass out. That was like the mentality for the bad boys and everything. So, Barkley, both of them are from that era, so I thought, maybe Oakley would have understood, hey, okay, this is a guy, he comes from that hard-nosed, hard-hitting era, where we're just not going to let somebody just run up the score like that. But, maybe there just is some animosity between the two that would cause that. But, it's, pretty much unnecessary. One guy, just a TV analyst just talking, about the game, and the other guy, just getting on Twitter talking about, what he heard Charles Barkley say. So it's kind of, it's kind of crazy, but I thought, maybe Oakley would have understood, where Barkley was coming from, since, he played with Jordan, and, there was some teams, out there that just hurt Jordan when they played against him, just like where we at Detroit, the whole bad boys and everything like that. So, just my little 2 cents on
it. Just to, not really on Barkley versus Oakley, but it's just as far as what Barkley was saying when he was talking about that game.
Yeah.
It's true they come from an era where there's a lot more physical play, but he's talking about fouling people hard that are shooting threes.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what do you want them to do? Shoot from half court? You want them to just try to take a 24-second violation every play? They weren't coming in like dunking on you to try to just say y'all are garbage, but you do have a 24-second clock.
Yeah, I guess, he would prefer them just to shoot, 2 points instead of threes, I guess, threes more than two. So, but, hey, either way, what do you do, I guess. For sure. All right, guys. Anything else to say on that?
Nah.
Okay. Just let the old timers be old and just go at it, I guess.
Some things never change.
Exactly. We also, just so far in the NBA playoffs, we had just a couple of coaching changes and firings and everything like that. Byron Scott getting fired from the Lakers, Luke Walton getting picked up by the Lakers, Yeager getting dropped by Memphis, and Frank Vogel getting dropped from Indiana. What are you guys? We'll just go by by some of them. First with Byron Scott, were you guys surprised by that at all, or what?
No, not surprised. Everybody was saying just after how Golden State started with Steve Kerr being out with his back surgery, that he was basically earning himself a head coach job, and everybody knew it was going to either be LA or New York that goes after him due to the Laker ties in both places.
Yeah.
So, not totally shocked by that. LA just struck while the iron was hot there, and, they had the cover of having their worst season in quite a long time.
Yeah.
Where it was just an easy decision to get rid of him, and I think it's actually a good situation to bring Luke Walton in, because you don't have to put too high of expectation on him after having a season that bad. He wins 10 more games, and it's like, well, looks like they made the right decision.
Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah, I'll completely agree with that. I think Luke Walton couldn't have asked for a better situation. If you were to look at both Memphis and Indiana, both are playoff teams, and both have a playoff talent and potential. So it's not like Luke Walton's going to a team and expected to make the playoffs, just like you said, win 10 more games, and, things are on the up and up for the Lakers. I think also, even though he's proved he can handle big time talent, I think this will be a good opportunity to see how he can develop talent as well. Because I think if he can really develop the Lakers, that'll land him a second job later on, whenever that may come. Because he succeeded in Golden State. Granted, a lot of people thought that was just the situation he walked into. But I think if he can develop the Lakers, develop some of their really young talent, like whoever their first round draft pick is going to be, maybe build up Julius Randle a little more, D'Angelo Russell, kind of clean up that locker room a little bit, I think he'll be highly sought after when the next big shift in coaching changes comes along.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both you guys there. Lakers, throughout history, they have been known to be an impatient organization. They want to win, and they want to win now, just like that. So, to see Byron Scott go, I definitely saw that coming. Them picking up Luke Walton with his ties to LA. Definitely see that. It's just going to be interesting to see, with the whole front office and everything that they have, if they can get some free agents this summer, because you got two big names in Durant and DeRozan going to be free agents this summer. So we'll see if they can pick them up. I'm pulling for Durant to come there. So definitely going to be crossing my fingers on that. But yeah, that front office can definitely play a huge role in helping with the success of Luke Walton. So he can come in there if they can get in some talent from him, for him, as well as draft some good pieces for him to work with this young core. That definitely help him definitely get a better job in the league if it comes to them something going wrong, which he wants to coach somewhere else or anything like that. So it could definitely be good for him if the front office can, get their heads together and get some guys in there that could want to play for the Lakers. So the other two that I was kind of shocked by was Dave Yeager. He was with the Memphis Grizzlies, and Frank Vogel. I was really shocked by that one with the whole Indiana situation. What are your guys' thoughts on these two choices?
Yeah, I believe I heard Larry Bird talking about Frank Vogel, and just saying that a couple years ago, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals and have degressed every year since. So he kind of sees that like they're in a downward trend and they just need something new, which I don't necessarily know if that's the case because they've struggled with the Paul George injury the 1 year.
Yeah.
And then this was kind of his first full year back, still kind of getting some ground under him, adding some new pieces to their team, adding like a Miles Turner, who's a big piece for them. But, I feel like just because you're not back in the Eastern Conference Finals, that doesn't mean you're, in a downward trend. I mean, you just haven't had the same success. You have a different team now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to look at that team that was in the Eastern Finals, they're completely different. They don't have Stevenson anymore. They don't have Hibbert anymore. And
David West was a key part.
Yeah, exactly. And quite frankly, none of those players are even the same player they were. I think they'd still be in the same situation if they had those players.
Exactly.
So I was a little surprised by that firing, even though, there was rumors swirling around. I didn't think that was going to happen. And then in terms of the Memphis firing, I could honestly care less about the Memphis firing. It's like I never really cared about who their coach was or anything like that, just because I feel like they're a middle to bottom half of the playoff picture in the West, and if you're in the middle or bottom half of the playoff picture in the West, you're getting nowhere. Yeah. So, maybe a new coach will help them out a little bit, but I don't see it being a ton different for them moving forward.
Yeah, real quick, I agree with you, Ty, on the whole Vogel thing. Just in Memphis, I think they did a bad job at firing Lionel Hollins first. And then they fired this guy. He still made them make it to the playoffs despite all the injuries that they had and things like that. I mean, with the injuries that they had, I don't know how their front office could expect him to have them win a championship or anything like that, or whatever they were hoping for out of the guy. So I was just shocked by that. It was just with the whole injuries and everything that Memphis was facing. It was kind of like, this guy did all he could with the team, but with all those injuries, Randolph being hurt, Marcus Saul and Mike Conley being hurt, is kind of like, okay, what do you expect out of this team, after all that? So I was just shocked by that, despite for him to have the success that he's had with that team, with all the injuries and everything like that. So it was just interesting to me to see how they handled that whole situation. It's going to be interesting to see who they're going to get next to fill in his shoes, the coach. So that was my main shocker for that.
I guess neither move was like a giant shock. I think with Indiana, I think it was just kind of one of those situations where they felt it was getting stagnant to regression. I know Paul George's injury hurt a lot and there's been some overturn on the team, but I look at it kind of like with Oklahoma City and Scott Brooks. I just think they reached their peak with the coach that they had, and I think the decision was we might need that coach that can take us to the next level now. Not sure that Oklahoma City made that correct choice, but I mean they're looking better right now. Might be getting to the conference finals, but I think Indiana was kind of in that situation. They had gotten so close, and now they were falling behind, probably seeing how other teams were moving along. So I think they just felt the need that they needed to make a change. They tried to change players. It didn't work, so now it was time for the coach. With Memphis, it's just, I don't know, it's something with the organization. Like with Trey brought it up with Lionel Hollins. That move was odd and not sure why it happened. So, I mean, I guess I can't be shocked when they let a coach go for kind of no apparent reason.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I think Yeager, he's going to Sacramento, or it's already been finalized, I believe. Because you see him with his personality, working with a DeMarcus Cousins?
I don't see anybody working with DeMarcus Cousins.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see, man. Because I've even saw that they could possibly be Sacramento could possibly be willing to trade DeMarcus Cousins. Just due to his attitude and the problems he's had with coaches. So that'd be interesting for them to do that, since they've been sticking with the guy for ever since he's been there. So it's it'd be interesting to see how those two could get along and everything. So
yeah, I think Cousins needs like a coach with a lot of college player experience.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know they probably did try to get Calipari just for that connection, but I think he needs to go where there's a coach that is good at dealing with somebody that's immature.
Yeah. I don't even know, man, if college would work, man, because my whole thing, I kind of view it, with college players, it's kind of like, here these guys are, a lot of them, they're still not at where they want to be in life. They're still broke. They don't have the Lambo yet or anything like that. So for them, it's like, I'm still working and trying to get somewhere. Once you get to the NBA and that whole, you get that ego, you got the money, you got the cars, the house and everything like that. That whole attitude gets goes down the drain. So it's, I can see what you're going there, man, but, the whole kind of like college thing to me is kind of like, like when you're working with college players, some of these guys, they still want to get better so they could do something with them lives and go pro and stuff like that. Where when they finally go pro, they got the contract, they could finally put their mom in a big house or something like that. It's kind of like, okay, I'm my own man now, whatever. I can do what I want, say what I want and whatever. So, could it possibly work, the whole college coach with, Cousins? I'm not going to throw it out the window, but, I think, him being the way he is, I think he's stuck in his ways now. So, but.
Well, yeah, I get where you're going. I mean, I'm talking about a certain type of coach. One that is more of a players type coach, not a disciplinarian, not like Coach K or something like that. But I mean, like if you went to Boston where Brad Stevens is, that's the kind of personality. I mean, it was with Butler, so he probably didn't have anybody like Cousins, but he's good at dealing with somebody that acts like a 18 to 20-year-old.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like I said, if they could have got a Calipari, he has that type of personality where a younger minded player might think he's kind of cool and listen to him some more.
Yeah.
Something like that. Not like, I'm not saying get Coach K up and try to pull him from Duke. Somebody's going to be yelling at him from the sideline every play. No, because that's just somebody else.
Yeah.
It's just, they need somebody that can coddle somebody that's immature.
Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts on the coaches, guys?
No.
All right. Up next, we're just going to talk about these series so far. What are your thoughts on the Spurs versus OKC series so far?
I, for one, am a little surprised that Oklahoma City has the lead in the series.
Me too.
I'm a little surprised that they're going home with
you
an
in
opportunity.
America, buddy.
Yeah, and I think I'm also surprised they have the opportunity to go home and win the series. I wouldn't have picked Oklahoma City in 6 if I would have picked them to win the series.
Yeah.
But I think you can credit a lot to Russell Westbrook, especially. I mean, the guy has a motor that is unmatched in the league right now. I mean, think about it. Last night, he had that and one at the end of the game to basically seal it.
Yeah.
And he went straight through a foul from Kawhi Leonard and went up strong at the rim and got the and one. In my opinion, terrible reffing, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
But, like all coaches tell their kids, AAU ball, high school ball, middle school ball, play to the whistle.
Exactly.
So
there was a couple of calls that game where, Westbrook just went off because team didn't just play through the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they expected a foul to be called when it wasn't and everything like that. So, you know, great move by him.
We're basically seeing Durant also step up big, hit some good shots. You know, when him and Westbrook are getting 25 a game, you know, other guys are going to score points too. So you have to stop one of the two in Durant or Westbrook. In San Antonio, I don't know what's happening there. They're maybe making some poor offensive decisions late in the game. I feel like they're trying to force some shots, not really stick to the Spurs way. But, you know, a lot of credit goes to Oklahoma City. They're playing really hard. They're hustling hard, playing through whistles, you know, basically not accepting the fact that people are saying they're the third team in the Western Conference. It's almost like they're taking offense to that and really kind of trying to show, hey, we can compete and we can win. You know, but I think if they do end up going home winning game 6 and what looks like a Western Conference Finals matchup with Golden State, I think we can expect maybe a better series than we all thought we would see.
Yeah, this was a shocker to me because I had the Spurs winning in 5 or 6 games. I thought at home they were just gonna lock up OKC every home game, and I didn't trust OKC enough in the fourth quarter. I thought if the game was going to be close in the fourth quarter, San Antonio Spurs could find a way to win, you know, especially those away games. At the away games in the fourth quarter, they could find a way to win just with how awful OKC has been this year. But those guys, you know, OKC has proven me wrong, man. They're out there, they're hustling, you know, they're playing till they hear the whistle, and, you know, they're just going at it. So I'm just shocked by this. I'm still, you know, I had the Spurs winning it all this year. I think Kawhi and Aldridge are going to keep stepping it up. Would like to see a little bit more out of the original big three with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. But I got a question for you guys. Just kind of thought about this because, you know, we podcast every week. Spurs could possibly lose this series. If they do lose, is this the last time we'll see Tim Duncan?
Probably.
You think so?
Yeah, I would lean towards yes, but wouldn't be surprised if it's not. Okay. But it would be one more year, if anything. One more and that'd be it.
Okay. What about Ginobili?
Nah, he probably still has some time left in the tank.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, coming off the bench, you know, that's kind of what he's fit for right now and has been fit for a little while, but I can still see him doing that for a couple.
Yeah. Because, you know, Tim's getting old, man. You know, he's definitely not in his prime anymore. You know, if they, with the success that they had this year, with the possibility of winning the championship, for them to go this far, and, you know, that's just doing nothing but just adding more miles on him. You know, that could wear him out and cause him to possibly want to retire during the off season. So it could be interesting. You know, this could be the very last week that we see Tim Duncan ever again. So just kind of my thoughts on that. Anything left to say on OKC and the Spurs?
Man, I could have swore Russell Westbrook wasn't a superstar.
Yeah.
I think he's changing a lot of people's minds. And, you know, we've talked about it before, too. Like, we almost think that Russell Westbrook is Oklahoma City now.
Yeah. You know, he's going to be the head guy of the team, for sure.
I mean, he's the one making the plays.
Yeah. So, you know, it definitely really be, if they, fall short and Durant goes somewhere else. So, that we could have that for another discussion though. But what are you guys' thoughts on the Miami Heat and Toronto series?
Ugly but tight.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, probably just as many overtimes as we've seen you kind of want this series to go on forever.
Yeah.
Just because it's fun. It's fun to watch. But I think I've seen some of the best and some of the sloppiest basketball in this series. Like, in the matter of like possession by possession.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been fun watching these games come to the wire, go to overtime, and all that. But I think it's one of those moments where we watch it, but take it with a grain of salt, because we saw the other series in Cleveland and Atlanta, and just think, how is either team going to beat that? So I feel like we're just trying to soak up this series as best we can, because we just know that the next series could very well potentially be another 4-0 sweep.
Yeah.
So you think it could be the next series could be a 4-0 sweep too, Darnell?
I wouldn't be like totally blown away if it is, but I mean, I think either team might be able to get a home game.
I agree there though. I think it'll go 5, but if they can continue, if Cleveland continues to be making 20-something threes a game, neither of the other teams are shooting the ball like that.
Yeah. That'll be very interesting. But who do you guys think would give the Cavs the most trouble?
I think Miami.
I would agree.
Man, I would kind of, I would go Toronto with me. That's just because with Miami, Whiteside, he's out for the whole playoffs now, right? Or is it the series?
All I saw is he didn't travel with him for Game 5.
Okay. Well, if that's I for some reason I think it was for the playoffs, but if it's not, if it's just a series, I would go to Heat, just because I think that he could, with the talent that the Heat have and him being a big, he could take it to the Cavs bigs. But if he's out for the playoffs, which I think with Valanciunas coming back, his with the big that he is, I think he could cause trouble for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But it would just be interesting to see, DeRozan and Lowry, they would have to step up too. But you already have, Wade's been killing it. Dragic, Joe Johnson, he's been stepping up. So, with just those three, they've been playing well. But if Whiteside, if he was to come back and play, that would help them tremendously against Cleveland. So, for sure.
Well, I also think that when you look at Toronto, I think they have a little more individual talent. They have youth for sure.
Yeah.
But I think Miami has the experience. They have guys on that team who have played, who have won. I mean, Wade has the championships with, and the championship without LeBron.
Yeah.
But I think you look at someone like on that team, who's youth, and you look at Justice Winslow, who, is having some pretty good moments. It could be a good coming out party for somebody like him.
Yeah.
And, I think Miami, I think they just have more players who have shown us that they can hit a bigger shot.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Because I'm looking at Toronto with Lowry and DeRozan, who are colder than an ice bucket challenge. Yeah. And I mean, granted, they're doing a little better than they were at the beginning of their series, but I just have a hard time seeing them go up against Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. I don't even know who would guard Kevin Love. Patrick Patterson. I mean, I just think you could throw someone like Joe Johnson on LeBron or Kevin Love. Yeah. I just think they just have a little more versatility on the defensive end of the floor to match up with them and try and slow them down. And I also think that they have the better ability to run small ball, which Cleveland is starting to do and excel.
Yeah, plus Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, they're great friends. You know, nobody knows you better than your friends, so they could be, you know, spilling information on each other. You know, just how they play and everything. You know, from their Miami days together. So it would definitely be a good series with those with the Heat in Cleveland. And, you know, that'd be the first time that Toronto's ever made it to the finals too. You know, so with a young team with like them, and with the inexperience that they have, and you know, last week I told you, you know, like DeRozan and Lowry, you know, among the active players, they have like the worst shooting percentage in the playoffs. Would this be something that they're truly ready for? You know, Wayne Wade, he's won the championships and stuff. He's made it to the finals and everything like that. So he could have his guys ready to play and ball out against Cleveland. So it would just be interesting to see.
I just looked. The most recent thing I could find is that Whiteside just is listed as day-to-day still.
Oh, day-to-day. Okay. So, okay, yeah. So I'll go Heat then with Whiteside. Yeah. For some reason, I thought that he was out for the whole entire playoffs with that injury. But yeah, if he's
thinking about Bosh, maybe
it could be. Could be. Yeah, could possibly have those two mixed up. But you know, yeah. Bosh is definitely out. But man, if Bosh played though, man, that's with that talent, my goodness.
I'd give the Heat a chance to win the series if Bosh was playing.
Bosh, Whiteside, Joe Johnson, Wade. Oh my goodness.
Well, they would easily be able to run small because you would probably throw Bosh at the 5, Johnson at the 4.
Yeah.
I mean that would be a lot better than having potentially. Because I don't know if you'd be able to put Johnson at the 5, but if Love were at the 5, I think you'd be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, and Love is the 5 for them, so when they run small.
Yeah. So just be interesting to see, man. But yeah, with that team would be just awesome to watch. With Bosh, you know. I'm not like a huge fan of anything like that, but you know, his health definitely comes first, you know. Hopefully he's a great player, you know, hopefully with the whole blood clots and everything, you know, they could fully, you know, find a solution to the problem that he's having right now. So, you know, he could be able to watch, cause, you know, Miami Heat, then that's a fun team to watch, especially come playoff time. So it's, you know, they're missing a good guy in Bosh on that roster. So, all right. What are your thoughts on Golden State and Portland?
I think it's over now.
Think it's over. It's tonight. We got we got about 30 minutes till game time. Man, is it over tonight?
I think so.
It would have to be Curry back in the lineup.
Curry just 17 points in overtime.
You know, I don't think anybody expected what we saw out of him in the last game, but I think everybody still expected the result. Yeah. Like I think a lot of people would have said, well, they would have swept him if Curry was healthy the whole time, and maybe so. But you know, Portland winning one, Curry not being on the floor, I think was still a good experience for Golden State. Because I think everybody would have had him in 5, maybe 6 if Curry wasn't playing. Yeah. So I think it's just a situation where I think the experience was good without Curry for that team.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. And if something were to happen, they need to know we can still win without him.
Yeah.
It would be very hard for them to go all the way without Curry.
Yeah.
But I think they've proven to themselves they can win.
But, you know, huge shout out to Clay too, man. Like we always, whenever, you know, Steph's on a team, you know, it could just be Steph. But, you know, Clay did his thing too, shooting, when Steph was out. So
Draymond Green.
Yeah, Draymond stepping up as well. So it's, you know, they got some great pieces on that team, you know, Livingston coming off the bench, you know, to do his thing too. So they just got some, pieces that could ball, you know, in that system Absolutely. That they have over in Golden State. So, just great talent. Now you think it's over tonight too, Ty?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go the same for sure.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on Steph's getting that unanimous MVP vote.
Not surprised.
Yeah, it's what it should have been.
Yeah, not surprised. There's interesting debate going around, kind of being headed up by Colin Cowherd, who's kind of the main guy I've seen about it, saying Steph Curry's not the MVP because people are misevaluating the definition of valuable. And whether you want to believe it or not, I think it's interesting debate because he basically raises the question that Golden State can still win without Steph Curry. Steph Curry's the most outstanding player of the year, the most, outstanding player, but Colin Cowherd's saying that in terms of value to Golden State, he's not even the most valuable guy on that team. He thinks Draymond Green's the one guy that if you were to take him off that team, they would struggle more. One thing he said was that, Steph Curry's best ability is to shoot the three ball. And they shot the three just fine without him in both of their series.
I mean, it's a shooting team, so it's...
I completely agree with that. So,
but my thing is, if Steph Curry wasn't on that team, how many wins would they have gotten?
No, I agree. I agree. I don't think they would have had 73 wins. I mean, sure. I'm saying I think it's an interesting debate because when you talk about most valuable, you're saying, okay, take them off the team. Are they still winning? I don't think Golden State would have won to the extent that they did. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and clear. I do think Steph Curry should have been MVP, and I do think he should have been unanimous MVP. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think it's interesting debate because it brings somebody like, LeBron James, because he's the one getting assists, rebounds. You take him off of Cleveland's team, they're probably not even close to being the favorite in their own conference, let alone probably any of the series that they played. I think, granted, I think if you were to take Steph Curry off Golden State, they still would have been favored to win the series, but they would have been nowhere near 73 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the game of semantics. And, I mean, certain seasons, it is played that way. I mean, like the saying goes, like for lots of years of the NBA, you could have given it to like one of the same players almost every year. Like during the 90s, Jordan could have been the MVP every year. 2000s, it could have been Shaq or Kobe. Over the last 5 or 6 years, it could have been LeBron almost every year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, right now it seems to be taken more so as the best player in the NBA. Yeah. That's the MVP. But I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Actual value to a team is a different thing. If you take Steph off of Golden State, they're still a playoff team. You take Bron off of the Cavaliers, they're probably still a playoff team, just probably a 6 or 7 seed.
Yeah.
If you take Durant or Westbrook off of OKC, they might sneak in. I mean, so if we went by that one, basically, what is it? Is Dirk Nowitzki the MVP? You take him off of Dallas, they probably don't make the playoffs.
Yeah. See, like I think there's some flaw to the argument, but I definitely think it raises a lot of interesting debate where you could bring a lot of players into the conversation and say, well, then this guy's the best and this guy's the best. But in reality, it is a most outstanding player or player of the year award. That's really what it is. Mm-hmm. But, I just thought it would be interesting to see what you guys thought about that.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think, Steph Curry should have definitely gotten the MVP. I'm still, debating in my head, as if how I view it, I got him as, probably looking at it, you guys might think I sound crazy when I say this, but probably the second or third best player, in the league just overall. If I'm looking at a team, I would take, Kawhi over him, just what he can do defensively and offensively on the court. But, you know, Kawhi is a beast, but, you know, he didn't lead the Spurs, you know, to 73 wins and, you know, just do outstanding, entertaining stuff like Curry has done this season. So, you know, it's, you know, MVP most valuable. You know, just with how entertaining Curry was this year and what he's been able to do. You know, I would definitely give him that award. But, you know, there's still a couple of players that I would take over Curry in the league.
I agree.
But he's, you know, he's an elite player, you know, he's just a fun, entertaining guy to watch. So, you know, it's kind of hard, you know, for him to not get the unanimous vote, just how entertaining, of a player he is. You know, this guy went into overtime, you know, with the clock running down, didn't call a timeout or nothing, just went half court and just made a 3 to win the game this season. So it's just, with his talent, how well he's been playing, you know, it's hard to, you know, vote against a guy like him.
No, I agree. You know, I think a thing that helps him is he's very likable, and I guess I'm starting to get into the unanimous discussion a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that a couple days ago, like, do we think he should have been unanimous, and whatnot? You know, I think unanimous was kind of the easy choice. I'm a little surprised that it took this long to get a unanimous.
Yeah, like when they first said
player.
it, I was like, wow, like he's the first ever
I mean,
person out of all the great players in history in NBA, he's
I had
the first.
known, like I had known that no one had been unanimous before. But, you know, when I stepped back and thought about it, you know, okay, you had Michael Jordan in the 90s winning MVPs, and, you know, Michael Jordan was loved or hated. You know, you would have had the New York Knicks, you know, who didn't like the Bulls. You would have had the Detroit Pistons that didn't like the Bulls, and there were probably voters from those respected areas that were like, oh, well, I don't like Michael Jordan, so I'm not going to vote for him. You know, and you have the same with LeBron. He's loved and he's hated. And you're going to have somebody like, I guarantee when he was down in Miami, someone from Cleveland wasn't voting for him. So I think this is one of the first times that we have a player who's absolutely liked by really 99.999% of everybody. Yeah. So, you know, when I thought about it that way, I go, okay, maybe I understand why there was never a unanimous MVP before.
Steph he just seems like, you know, just a very easygoing, likable guy. You know, He's not, you know, arrogant, you know, like, you know, trash talk, you know, like some of these players used to. You know, like he'll dance and have his antics and stuff like that, you know, but he doesn't have all these off the court problems, you know. You won't see him going crazy, you know, trying to fight somebody, going after his woman or something like that, you know, like a Matt Barnes or nothing, you know. He just seems like a very just easygoing, just fun guy to be around. So with that, you know, just that helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Steph is just kind of in a situation where he has everything kind of perfectly going for him. Yeah. He has a story behind him, you know, being like not a top 5 draft pick, so kind of got snubbed in that way, as good as he was in college. Yeah. And kind of surprised everybody with how good he's been at the NBA.
Kind of like a dark horse,
Yeah, like, I mean, how good he is at what he's good at. I mean, like, we've never seen a shooter like him.
Yeah.
With what he can do. As far as I kind of disagree with you a little bit, Trey. I think he's cocky as all get out, actually.
You think so?
But, yeah. But he has a certain loud mouth next to him named Draymond Green that kind of sucks a lot of that oxygen out of the room, because
But would you put him like on like a Gary Payton type of?
Well, no, Steph doesn't really do a lot of jawing, but
like that's what I'm trying to see. Yeah,
you have to have a level of cockiness.
Yeah. I'm just saying, when he's hitting shots and like
just
you see,
staring out into
he's
the crowd.
staring at people, he's like pointing at people in the crowd, like after
hands in the air.
After he hit his last shot in overtime last game, I'm effing back, walking around, looking at everybody, hopping around. It's like, yeah. I'm cool with it. Like, I don't have a problem. I like it.
Yeah.
But it's just, he I don't know. Like I said, I think he's shielded just because, for one, he has somebody that loves to talk in Draymond on the same team. So he kind of takes a lot of those arrows from people that want to hate somebody on the team. And then he's just in a market playing for a team that really, up until now, nobody's really cared enough about to hate. Yeah. So everybody kind of likes them.
Yeah.
They play a different style of ball than we're used to seeing. They're that first team that shot their way to a title.
Yeah.
So I just think he just fell into that perfect situation, and he got his awards before people. To quote the Batman Begins, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
Your Batman quotes.
he hasn't made it far enough to gather his haters yet.
Yeah. You know, plus, but some, you know, like I was telling, you know, Tyler, you know, with both you guys in the text, you know, like he has, you know, gotten some criticism from, you know, some of the old heads who used to play, you know, because earlier this year you has like, I think like Oscar Robertson. You know, he's come out, you know, if I was to play him, I would have done this, you know, there's no way he would have be, you know, shooting the ball like that and allowed him to have that much space and whatnot. So, you know, like from now, really say from his peers, but, you know, from the older, you know, heads in the, who played the game, you know, they kind of, I don't know, I guess they don't feel as if they got like the attention and stuff like Curry's been getting, like when they played and stuff. So,
yeah. I mean, I understand that, like, back in the day, there wasn't a 3-point line or anything like that, but Steph Curry single-handedly has changed the NBA in the matter of a season.
Yeah, like they
single-handedly.
He's been shooting like they should make like a 4-point line just for him,
almost,
man. Like it's ridiculous.
But I mean, I guess what I'm getting at here is the fact, like, he's single-handedly changing the game, and it is literally all credited to him specifically. Well, granted, Golden State as a team, because they're shooting at an unreal clip.
Yeah.
But Steph Curry's, you know, killing the 3-point record. And it, you know, like we said, it's something we've never seen before. But I also think how many of these guys want, you know, the NBA to kind of have that baseball mentality of a pure sport. It's a pure game, and it's the way the way we played it is the way to play it. And these guys are just like, you know, scared of the change that they're seeing in the NBA. Not necessarily scared, but just not comfortable with the way the NBA is moving. It's moving away from the big man, and a lot of the people that are speaking up are big men.
Yeah.
You know, so I wonder how much of it isn't necessarily them hating on Curry, but them hating on the change they're seeing. And it's just Curry's the byproduct of that.
Yeah. For sure. Any other thing on this, guys, before we get to people who we think were snubbed of the unanimous vote?
Well, real quick, only because I don't think we're going to talk about this at all. But I think we can see another first-time unanimous vote coming up in the pretty near future when, and Tran, this is one of your guys, and I know we don't talk baseball much, but when Derek Jeter gets on the Hall of Fame ballot, I think that could be the next time we see a first-time unanimous vote, because the Hall of Fame's never had a first-time unanimous vote. So I think when Jeter's on the ballot, we could see him get unanimously voted in first ballot, and that's also never been done before. So I think we could see another first-time unanimous in the very near future.
Okay,
I guess that's the next shot at it. I mean, if Griffey didn't get it,
yeah, no, it's and I agree. I think it's very hard to do, but once again, I think Jeter, you know, kind of like those old guys, played the game the right way. You never heard of him. Griffey kind of brought this new young attitude to the game at the time, and some people didn't like it. So I think it's one of those things where Jeter's the likable guy. Jeter did it by the book.
I don't know, Ty, because kind of like what you said earlier, you know, like players, you know, people voting from different parts of the world. The Yankees are a team that you love or you hate, man. Like, I tell people I'm a Yankees fan, they'd be like, "Oh, Yankees suck, man."
That's
all
that
that.
Team than an individual.
But a lot of people say, I hate the Yankees, but I like Derek Jeter.
Absolutely.
True.
I agree.
I'm one of those. Like,
you have to respect Derek Jeter.
But I'm a Jeter fan.
Yeah, it could possibly be, but yeah, Griffey was a boss too. He didn't get it, but we could be seeing that. We could possibly be seeing it, man. So.
Yeah, but I guess I'm not necessarily calling one there because I've heard multiple people give that opinion, but I fall right in line with it. So in terms of our show, I'm calling it.
You don't think my man A-Rod, when he retires, man?
You're kidding. You mean A-Royd?
Oh, man. Yeah, a little laugher for you guys, but don't hate, man.
Don't hate. Dude, he lost every chance.
Oh, man.
Whatever.
All right, guys. Okay, let's put the whole MVP thing. Who are some guys that we think got robbed of being a unanimous vote for MVP? Me, simple. Two guys that come to my mind, Will Chamberlain and Oscar Robertson. Think those are two guys that had like the greatest seasons in NBA history. Wilt, he was awarded it in 60, I believe. He had 38 points, 27 rebounds, and, they didn't get blocks and stuff like that during that time, but, 38 points and 27 boards a game. We'll never see that again. Another guy with Oscar Robertson was in, when was it? It was a triple-double, season. If I can find the stats right here, I just had it. He had 30.8, 11.4 assists a game and 12.5, rebounds. A guy getting a triple-double, averaging triple-double in season. Don't think we'll quite be able to see that again. Those are two people, when I just look at their stats, it's kind of like, that's talent, like how did these guys, not get a unanimous vote? But, who are some other guys that you guys think Jordan for you, Darnell?
Jordan in the 88 when he averaged 35, 5.5 boards and pretty much 6 assists and almost 2 steals, I believe.
Yeah.
I know he was still a younger player, but I mean, those are ridiculous numbers. I don't know how anybody said anybody else was more valuable in either sense of what we were talking about, because that was pre-Pippen, and they would have been a terrible team without him putting up those kind of numbers.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I would say Shaq in 2000.
Yeah. Real cool. You don't think, 95, 96, with them, previous, because I think the record too played a huge role in Golden State. Him getting that MVP. You don't think, because that was Jordan, the record too back in the
Jordan
day.
In 96, it could have been one. I mean, he averaged it's like 30 and 36 and 6.6 boards, 4 assists. I mean, still ridiculous season for him. But I just put that 88 year just because his numbers were so crazy for a shooting guard to be doing that.
Yeah.
With how many assists he was putting up and the boards. But then outside of that, like I said, Shaq in 2000, he was pretty much unguardable.
Yeah, like he had 29, 13, and 3 blocks that year. That was just... And from what I read, he was pretty salty that he didn't get a unanimous vote from that. But he was ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my last one was LeBron in 2010.
Okay.
It was 29, 7, and 8. I don't think anybody was touching him that year. I don't know why anybody voted otherwise.
Yeah, I really have no new ones to add there. once again, with the numbers being, especially on some of the newer ones with, even going back to Jordan in 88, 95, 96, Shaq in 2000, LeBron in 10, despite whether you're liked or not, it's hard to argue against numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, statistics are very hard because think about it. If you're voting against, Curry this year, you're just going to get, you're just a hater. You're just a hater. And I think when you look at some of these seasons that we talked about, the only logical reason you're not voting for him is you're a hater. So, it is weird to think that this is the first time we've ever had unanimous. And I think all the ones we mentioned are worthy of a unanimous vote.
Yeah. Just real quick, Darnell, what about the years you thought your man J. Kidd was snubbed by Steve Nash?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it had to be unanimous, but I just think I think Nash is the least deserving MVP of the MVP either year.
Oh man, yeah.
I think Shaq should have got it the year he got his first one, and I think Kidd or Duncan would have been a better choice the second year.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Anything else on the unanimous votes, guys?
Nah.
A-Rod is not going to be unanimous. I'll just keep reiterating that point.
Oh man, I got you guys going with that one. Oh boy.
One of your many brilliant insights.
Oh man. Okay. Last but not least, we had Trace McGrady making the comments about the NBA being a watered down league, just with how Curry got the unanimous vote with the MVP. What are you guys' thoughts on the comments? Is he a hater, perhaps? What do you guys have to say?
I mean, I would have to assume that they have some level of these being legit feelings from themselves, but it's just like, come on. I mean, it's different than when you played, but like, we don't have to just take every chance we get to take a shot at the league right now. Like, I agree with some of it. The game is played different. It's not as tough a league. I do think it's easier to score a lot in this league, but it's the way it is. I mean, quit blaming the players for the rules that they have to play under.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see a big divide in old school versus new school in the NBA.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that think it should be played one way and everyone else thinking it's okay. But I think, kind of like you said, Darnell, like, how much of it is actually legitimate feelings and how much of it is just people wanting their voice to be heard and in the media again. So I don't know whether this is legit or not. But with a lot of people being able to speak, especially with the media outlets we have now, granted, I believe he said it on TV.
Yeah, he's part of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so,
yeah.
I mean, it's not like he came out on Twitter and said it, but I find it really interesting how it's like people, because they have the chance to be heard, feel like they have to say something.
Well, and some of it, like, now with McGrady is like, dude, you retired 5 minutes ago. Like, the league hasn't changed that much since you.
And if it wasn't for that injury that really set him back, I believe he had like an ACL or something. He still could have been playing, in this watered down league that he's talking about. So it's
like, for me, it's like, T-Mac, I'm sorry it took you a bajillion years to have any sort of a positive success in the playoffs, but it doesn't mean that the league's terrible now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone has a quicker turnaround in their career than you, or not necessarily a turnaround for Curry, but just because someone has, quicker, monumental success than you ever had, doesn't mean it's garbage or not worthy or anything like that. To me, it's just T-Mac wanting his name to be brought up in the media again.
Now, with this whole rules and everything, could you guys see the rules getting changed to go back to that 80s, 90s style? With the whole
No.
hand. Okay, you couldn't see that side.
No, I think
the ratings go down.
Only if the ratings go.
Yeah, I mean, I think player safety is too much a modern day concern, if you want to call it modern day. But I think they would rather see safety of the players, because if your star players aren't going to be on the floor and are going to be out with injuries, no one's going to watch.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Any other comments?
No.
A-Rod's not going to be a unanimous vote. No matter how bad you want it, Trey. I know you're just joking around, but people need to know A-Rod's not even getting it ever.
I hear you, man.
I'll say something one day you can kill me for. So.
All right.